I tried everything to save my marriage, but nothing actually worked until I did this. Whitney and I were dating when everything changed for us really quickly. At that time, I was a mess. I was an alcoholic. I had no real direction in my life. And surprise, we got pregnant. So I realized I had to step up. We got married in pretty short order and moved thousands of miles from Vancouver, British Columbia to Ottawa, Ontario. I started my career as a financial advisor. It was a very cutthroat world. Like 90% of the people that I started with were gone after a year, but I pushed through. I hustled really hard. And after 4 or 5 really brutal years of like barely getting by and hustling, I was finally making good money. I was making multiple 6 figures and I'd succeeded in my career. But behind closed doors, my life was totally falling apart. I was drinking every day. And I don't mean 2 or 3 drinks. I mean getting very drunk every single day. Sometimes there were years I didn't take 1 day off. I was angry. I was resentful. I was anxious. I was stuck in this terrible victim mindset in my marriage, in my life in general. And I blamed Whitney for almost everything that was wrong in our marriage and our life. But I wasn't present. I wasn't safe. I wasn't leading in any real way. And not long after our second beautiful child, our daughter, was born, Whitney told me she just couldn't do it anymore. After years of fighting and disconnect, she moved back to Vancouver with the kids. We weren't officially separated at that point, and I eventually joined her in Vancouver. And for like the next year, we just continued to fight and be pretty miserable together while I tried to rebuild my business on the other side of the country. And eventually I realized something had to change. And during the last couple of years, just working on myself, my addictions, my anxiety, my anger, I had started diving really deep into existential psychology, into Jungian psychology. I really went into really deep areas to try to get some answers like alchemy and esoteric spiritual traditions and deeper into my own Christian faith. I wasn't finding the answers that I needed in any of the traditional places. And at first, this was a real descent into darkness. But eventually, as my life was kind of falling apart everywhere, and Whitney and I ended up being separated for like 6 months living in separate homes, sharing the kids, I finally started to make some choices when I got to the bottom of that darkness. I stopped drinking so much. My social anxiety finally began to fade. I was finally making progress, and I decided to apply that to my relationship as well. I decided I wasn't going to blame her anymore. I was going to take full responsibility for our relationship, for better or worse, whether I was accurate or inaccurate. I was going to take radical responsibility for what was happening in our relationship dynamic. So when we got together to discuss potentially getting back together, I was very transparent. I focused on what I had done wrong in the relationship and where I had not shown up as the man that she deserved and that my kids deserved. And slowly something incredible began to happen. We didn't just get back to a decent relationship where we weren't fighting all the time, which is really all I was aiming at. We got to this incredible place. We got to this incredible depth. We had incredible intimacy. We had more loving between us than I ever thought was possible or ever dreamed would happen for us in our marriage. Our marriage didn't just survive. It became deeper, more intimate, more loving than I had ever dreamed was possible. So I share this with you to say your story isn't over. You have no idea where you could be in a few short months. And if you're ready to be the man that you were always meant to be, that your family needs, follow me for more because I'll show you exactly how.